One. It's not recording. Okay. So I'm Nicole Klingler, and I'm Kelly's success partner. How we met is through photography, and just kind of worked together on some photography projects. And then as we both started coaching, we just kind of started talking to each other about how each other were doing. And then we were just like, hey, why don't we talk like once a week? And just kind of motivate each other, share our best practices, and like be accountable to one another. And then we just kind of started working together from there. And we decided to start combining our weekly meetings just so both of our teams could learn just all the different stuff that we have planned, just so that everybody could benefit and share together. And also so that if there's times like this, like Kelly has a football game tonight, or if there's times that I can't be on, that we are still able to host these. So let's see if I've got some team members getting on. I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, so tonight we are talking about our personal development. And I think Kelly's mentioned this before too, but I just want to mention it, especially here, and especially for the people that might watch the rebroadcast or the recording, that there's a difference between like our personal development and our business development. And some people might consider it like spiritual development on one side, and then business development on another side. So we're going to kind of talk about that too. Real quick, let's go over just some reminders. And one thing that I wanted to remind everybody of is tomorrow is the last day of the month, Wednesday. So it's the last day of our work week for Beachbody, and it's the last day of the month. And I know for some people that is super stressful, because we might be scrambling for a few more Success Club points and just to help a few more people. And one thing I just wanted to share that has happened to me like 3 months in a row now is there was like 3 different months that I was scrambling for that like last person to help, because I need you can see my naked child running in the background. I needed 2 more points to reach my goal. And I just thought, oh my gosh, it's the last day. There's no way, you know that negative self-talk. Like, I'm going to go for it, but like, it might be hard. It's the last day of the month. Maybe there's no way I'm going to get these, last 2 points. And just knowing that you have that push, that time crunch, that last day of the month to really just follow up with everybody and just make sure there's nobody that you've missed, or just because people are so busy, maybe they just haven't gotten back to you yet. Do that last final push to follow up with everybody, because I kid you not, every single month that I've done that and worked really hard the last day to make sure everybody was followed up with and nobody fell through the cracks, I got like 8 successful points from that day, like following up with people from that one day, the last day of the month. So push for it. Like, don't look at the last day of the month as like, you know what, I'll just have to do better next month. Push for it. And then, if you don't happen to reach your goal, even after pushing for it, you planted the seeds that you're going to reap the rewards from next month. The next month is going to be amazing. So I really encourage everybody to push tomorrow, just to finish following up with everybody. The second thing is, I know you guys use, on Team Chic, you guys use the Pies Power Hour tracker that is in the Google Drive. And on Team Simplicity, we just recently started using the same thing. And it has been a game changer for me. I finally, I was pretty sure I was doing my Power Hour right. I've been tracking everything as well. But I usually am just a pen and paper person, and I write it down. And as I started doing it on the spreadsheet that's in the Google Doc and listing the names of each person that I connected with, or that I followed up with, or that I invited, or what I specifically posted, that's where I really started to see maybe like the little cracks, the little things that I wasn't doing. And I was able to be so much more productive. I was able to concentrate too. And as I go through the tracker, I'm able to look and be like, oh, okay, like I've accomplished all this. There's these 2 more things I need to do. I need to do 1 more social media post. I need to invite 1 more person to a challenge. or I need to present the opportunity to one more person. So it just gives you a clear idea of exactly what needs to happen every day. And I promise you guys that if you will utilize that, like every single day, just have that open in a tab on your computer when you're doing your power hour and check back and forth. As you check those things off, your business is going to skyrocket, because I know it's making a huge difference for me. So those two things, following up tomorrow, that final push for the end of the month, and using that Pies Power Hour tracker. Okay, so let's start talking about where we are with personal development this month, since we're in the end of the month. I just want to share what I'm reading currently and talk about it for just a second and my takeaways, and then I hope you guys have something that you want to share and suggest too, so that we can get ideas from each other on things that we can be reading and listening to. So I am at the very end. I have 9 minutes and 12 seconds left, so I better finish it up. I'm at the very end of Contagious by Jonah Berger, and I've really loved this one. It's been kind of different than some of the personal development books I've listened to recently. But what I've loved most about it is it really gets your brain going. Like, it gives you a lot of different ideas. All the different scenarios give you. Sorry, hold on a second. Did you see a kid waving in the background? A naked kid. So it gives you lots of different, it gets all the business examples that he gives. I mean, they're just from all different areas, and none of them are even related to network marketing, but they're so vivid. Like, that they give you so many different ideas of oh my gosh, I could apply that to my business by doing this or whatever. Like, it just really gets your brain going. And one of the most interesting things that stood out to me is he talks about what's called social currency. And that's that people will share things with other people. So I just kept thinking, challengers in our challenge groups will share things with other people, or people might share a post that we post on social media only if, there's three reasons. Either it's helpful, and so they want to share it because it can help people. B, maybe it is a safety thing, it'll prevent harm, or it's an awareness thing. If I share this, then it might help people to avoid something dangerous. And then C, it's to make themselves look good. So if it's cool, if it's going to appear like they're in the know, or they're a part of something exclusive or really, really hip, people will share it. So that was one of the big takeaways, is that if we can create in our challenge groups and in what we post some sort of social currency that people want to share it with other people because of one of those three reasons. It's helpful, it will keep them from harm, or it makes them look cool. Then our business is going to grow by word of mouth. So I think that's just a good thing to keep in mind when we're posting and when we're connecting with our challengers and when we're sharing things in our group is, is this something that they might want to share with their friends or family or social media because of those three things? It's helpful, it'll keep people from harm, or it will make them look good. So that was a cool thing in the book Contagious. And really the whole premise of the book is to why do certain things catch on and turn into a big hype, something super popular? Because we want our challenge groups and what we have to offer people to do the same thing, to turn into something huge for the people that know us, so that we can help as many people as possible. And then the last thing that really, there's tons of takeaways in this book, but that really, really stood out to me was how much, we can talk about ourselves and what we're doing till we're blue in the face. We could be like, oh my gosh, my challenge group is so awesome. Oh my gosh, I don't know, a million things. Self-promotion, okay? We don't want to promote ourselves. It does not work, okay? So what he explains is you want everybody else to be talking for you. So it's just kind of like that social currency thing. But that made me think, okay, so I need to figure out more ways to be having challengers tagging me on social media, hashtagging my hashtag or my like the name of our challenge group on social media. So what are more ways that we can get our challengers tagging on social media? What are more ways that we can get them to share their story, share their journey, share what they're doing and their experience in our group? What are more ways that we can encourage them to talk to their friends and family? Basically, that everything that we do as Beachbody coaches is going to be more effective and far-reaching if it isn't necessarily coming from us. Like if we practice what we preach and our actions show that it works, but our words aren't what's doing the talking. We don't have to get on social media and promote ourselves and our groups. Other people can promote them for us. So I just thought that was a really interesting concept, and I'm trying to come up with some ideas on how to make that work for myself and in my challenge groups. So those are my biggest takeaways from that. So Michelle, do you have something that you're reading or listening to right now?
No.
Hey, Kate, are you trying to come up with something that you want to start with?
Well, I was talking with Joelle today on Messenger, and she said she was going to get together a list of books that I guess you guys have, other people have read or she's read. And then I'm going to pick something from there and see where we go.
Fabulous.
With that. Yeah.
Well,
so right now I'm just really interested in just sitting here and listening and seeing what other people are reading, and I do love to read, so
good.
It'll be great.
Well, and I think with personal development, there's so many options. I mean, you can sit down and read if you have time. Like I personally love to listen to audio, so I love to listen to podcasts, or I'll purchase a book through Audible, and then you can just listen to it like on earbuds on your phone while you're doing housework or driving. So determining which works best for you is a really good thing. And a really good place to start, and a place you might want to start, Michelle, is with The Slight Edge. And I think we have the link to that posted in the Team page, don't we, Megan? Do you know?
Yeah, it's like a free PDF of it. That way you don't have to buy it, Michelle.
Yeah, there should be a Dropbox link that's an audio too, so you can just click on it and listen to the audio, and it's really short, but it's so awesome. Like it's really impacting. So I would start with that because it is short and so impacting. I would start with The Slight Edge. I think it's by Jeff Olson. Is it Jeff Olson? Slight Edge. I'll check to make sure, and we'll see if we can get you tagged in that. So you could start there, and then I'm sure Joelle will get you some more options. But I mentioned earlier that there's personal development and there's business development. And one thing that's super important, I feel like, is to make sure you can get both in a day, but if you don't get both in, get the personal development. So that's more like, it could be like The Slight Edge. It can apply to your life. It's not necessarily based on business. It's for life, for anybody. So something that will help you just with your mindset, so that anything you deal with in any part of your life can be improved upon. So then if you're reading or listening to something that is really just for business, that's awesome too, and you can apply it to your business. But a lot of times, if we're not in the right frame of mind personally or spiritually or emotionally, that is just kind of like a lot of noise. When we listen to like a business development book, it becomes noise to us, and sometimes it's overwhelming because maybe we're not quite sure how to implement it, or we feel like we have to implement it right now, but maybe we don't have time. So sometimes it can be overwhelming if we're not already in the right emotional state or mental state. So I feel like we need to clarify that personal development, like for some people that's like reading devotionals or scriptures, or different books like Brene Brown. Her book, The Power of Vulnerable. I can't even say the word vulnerability, the power of vulnerability. That one's so awesome. That's personal development because it can be applied to anybody at any point in your life, in any situation. It's not necessarily business development. That makes sense. So personal development first, business development second. Because I find if I get sucked into business development all the time and I'm not doing the personal development, like I can see a huge difference. I'll start comparing myself to others, my business to others. I'll start feeling down about maybe where my business is, even though I'm like learning so much about business. Does that make sense? So have the personal development first to strengthen your mind, strengthen your spirit, and then the business development. So 10, 15 minutes a day of each while you're driving or doing your dishes or whatever make a huge difference. Huge, huge difference. Okay. Megan, it's all you, girl. What are you reading or listening to right now?
Okay. I just started reading How to Influence People by John C. Maxwell. And it's really, really good. And I know I said I just got started, but I've already gotten so much out of the first 3 chapters.
That's awesome.
And he gives excellent examples that are true stories that may not be exactly the same line of work that we're in, but it's still something that can be taken and applied. But he still gives like a breakdown of everything. It's awesome. He pretty much in the introduction says that everyone has an influence. Like everyone can influence people. We just have different levels of influence on people. And then as he goes into the chapters, he talks about what are the qualities of a person of influence. So a person of influence has integrity with people. And he goes through and talking about how far just being authentic can take you. And that's so true with Beachbody especially. We were talking in one of our team meetings about how we just need to just be real because that's how you connect with people. And then, let me get through here. A person of influence nurtures other people. And pretty much what I compared that to was being a go-giver. How you need to provide value. And Michelle, you need to read The Go-Giver. Awesome. So put that on your list after the Slight Edge. That one's also short. And it has a story format to it. So it's not like facts being dished out at you. It's an actual story. It's really good. You're going to like that one. And then right now I'm on A Person of Influence Has Faith in People. And I'm really liking this one because it talks about how if you don't have hope, you don't have anything. And, you're just giving people, the positive I just lost self-confidence. You give people their self-confidence and that you have faith in them, even if you really don't think they can do something. If you just give them those vibes, it can totally take them to levels that they otherwise wouldn't have achieved. So yeah, that's about as far as I've made it through right now, but I'm loving it. And like I said, he gives the little nugget stories that are so good. And uses more than one perspective. So, like, if he's telling you, if you can pour positive influence into someone, it is going to make them do this. Well, then he'll also tell you what happens if they do not get that. And if you don't give, like, for example, if someone is bashed all the time, or a kid grows up with their teachers telling them, oh, you'll never amount to anything, or blah, blah, blah. He shows you what happens if that goes this way or if it goes this way. And so it gives you different perspective and makes you understand why it's so important. Because, we can always say, oh, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that right now. But he shows you what happens if you don't. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it was kind of an eye-opener.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And I got it at the Christian bookstore, so it's by a contemporary Christian author, but at the same time, he's not he's not focusing on the religion aspect of it at all. Like I haven't seen where he said anything about it. But one thing, can I share one of the stories since there's not many people on here? Okay. One of the stories he shared was from a teacher, a teacher who's a nun. Okay, and she had these kids. She taught them in like 3rd grade, and in the meantime, she moved to high school, so she had them again in high school. And it was one day in class where things just didn't feel right, and she could tell everybody was on edge because they were having difficulty with some of the new concepts they were learning in math. So she stopped everything in the classroom and had everybody take out a piece of paper and write every classmate's name down on the paper and skip a line. And then you had to go back through it and write something nice about each classmate. Like the nicest thing you could say, because she said everybody was just on edge. She wanted to do something good. So she took up all the papers, and over the weekend, she gave each student their own little sheet, and she wrote down what every kid had said about them, all the nice things. And she said some of the kids had 2 sheets of paper. And so then on Monday, she gave them the paper, and she said before long, everyone was smiling, and she could hear people whispering, "Oh, I didn't know people had noticed that. Oh, I didn't know people liked me, blah, blah, blah." So she said after that, no one ever mentioned the papers ever again. Shh. No one ever mentioned the papers ever again. She just, but she said it's fine. The exercise was accomplished. And she said those groups of students moved on, and several years later, she finds out or hears news that one of her students has passed away. It was killed in the military fighting in the war. And so she goes to the funeral. And she waits to be the last person to go to the casket and say her blessing or whatever. And then she's approached by one of his fellow soldiers. Says, "You're his math teacher." And she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "He talked about you all the time." And she's just blown away, right? Well, then she goes up to where they were meeting with the family to have the meal. And his parents approach her and show her his wallet that he had been carrying, and it had his pieces of paper in it, with all those nice things written on it. And you could tell that it had been taped and refolded and everything, where he was cherishing what everyone had said about him. Well, people there are hearing this conversation, and some of the other students that she had approach her and say they all saved theirs too, of their list. They called it their lists, that they had all saved their lists. And so the whole moral of that was that, just saying something nice can have a profound impact. I mean, you see it, this lasted for years.
Yeah.
So I thought that was one of the longer stories that he mentioned, but
that's so amazing, because I think it just goes to show that as we plant seeds with people and we're just talking to people, I mean, whether they buy through your link, whether they join your challenge group or not, what you say to them can make a lasting difference. And I think that just goes to show that what we do is so worthwhile.
And I struggle sometimes with coming up with what exactly to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I always think it's more than saying, it's listening. Like, just asking them how they're doing and literally letting them talk. And
everybody's different. Sometimes I can say, "Hey, what are your goals? What are your struggles?" And they just spew. Mm-hmm. And others, it's like pulling teeth to get them to talk. And I told one girl today, I was like, "I'm not asking you to be nosy. I'm asking you because I want to help you."
That's awesome. Like, I'm asking you because I care, okay?
Yeah. So, because I know sometimes people don't want to share personal stuff, and I totally get that.
Yeah.
And granted, I am one of those people that's not going to blab it, but still, I get that. And so I straight up told her, I was like, "I'm not trying to be nosy." And he also talks about how people work better being part of a team, which I related to Beachbody.
Yes.
He told this little short story about a farmer and his mule. And he said to look for ways to include others and be like the farmer who used to hitch up his old mule to a 2-horse plow every day and say, "Get up, Beauregard. Get up, Satchel. Get up, Robert. Get up, Betty Lou." One day his neighbor, hearing the farmer, asked, "How many names does that mule have?" "Oh, he only has one name," answered the farmer. "His name is Pete, but I put blinders on him and call out all the other names so he'll think that other mules are working with him. He has a better attitude when he's part of a team."
I love it. Oh my
I
gosh.
did
That's
too. I
funny.
love Greg.
But
So,
how
yeah.
often do we hear that? We're like, oh my gosh, she's rocking it. She's rocking it. Well, heck, I better join her, you know?
Yeah.
So that's so true. That is so funny. Okay, my phone keeps telling me that we're supposed to start our meeting now. I'm like, hello. We started a long time ago. I don't know why it keeps telling me that. Okay. I love that, Megan. Thank you for sharing. Okay,
Yeah.
so I kind of feel I kind of feel like you need to seek out books and audios that have to do with where you are right now and what you need. Because, for instance, I started reading the book Girl Boss. A bunch of people told me it's so awesome, you need to read it. And I must not have been in like the right place at the time, because I got like, oh, I don't know, a fourth of the way through maybe. And I was like, there's just so many things that annoyed me about it. And I was like, this is not for me, right? But then just recently, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a try again. And I started listening to it again. And she's kind of a crass person. Like, she doesn't use the best language either. So if that bothers you, you have to get past that. Like, I don't like that. So maybe that bothered me. But I kind of like pushed that aside. And then I was like, hey, this is good, you know? But it was months and months apart, like different points in my journey, in my life, in my business. And I don't know exactly what it was like that was different, but wherever I was, it wasn't good for me at one point in time, and then it was perfect for me when I picked it up again. So I think it's really good, before we just go grab something off the shelf and be like, oh, I'm supposed to read a book, I'm gonna read a book, to think about, like, you know what am I struggling with? Do I need to work on my self-confidence? Do I need to work on public speaking, leadership skills? Do I need to work on organization? Like, just kind of digging deep and figuring out what it is you need, and then seeking out something that will really help us with that. Okay. It says our meeting is going to end. I don't know why it's doing that. So we better hurry. Okay. So I just got a pop-up that says it's going to kick us off, but I didn't think it would do that. So yeah, like Michelle, I would encourage you to do the same thing, but that Slight Edge is so awesome to start with. The Go Giver is really awesome. And then another one that I love is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, because it's so applicable to everyday life as well. And it has a lot to do with relationships, and not so, like, you can apply it all to business, but you don't have to. So I think that's another good place to start. We'll make sure to, because I know there's already a list of really good personal development books in the team pages. So we'll make sure to tag those so we can kind of bump them to the top of our team pages, and you can see those, Michelle, and you can snag different things off there. But that's basically the gist of it, is that, you know, Megan, like, how do you feel, like, if you are staying up on your personal development versus not, like, how does that change your day for you?
Yeah, I think it makes a difference. I mean, I'm not going to say it makes a humongously enormous difference, but, like, it helps me keep my focus, and it helps me keep climbing the mountain. I feel like I'm climbing, and, like, the more you climb, the closer you get to the top, right? So, I don't know. I feel like I go backwards when I don't read something. And it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, if I'm doing, sometimes, like, the other book I was reading was crossing spiritual development with personal development, and I love doing that. And sometimes it's just all business, but either way, I need something.
Either way, you're growing from it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I personally don't do well with the audio ones because I'll get distracted. If I'm doing something else at the same time, I'll get distracted and I'll miss a whole 10 minutes. And it's like, wait, what? How do we get to this point?
Mhm.
I do better with the books.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if I own the book and I can like mark in it. And so that's just me because I have tried the audio ones and maybe if I could just listen to them while I was driving. But if I'm trying to like edit pictures and stuff and listen, I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
And that's when I listened to Girl Boss and You Are a Badass, and I didn't connect with either one of them. And everybody was talking about how awesome they were. And I'm just like, I don't get this. What was so great? I couldn't get past the language.
Yeah.
And You Are a Badass. I couldn't.
Personalities are very, I don't know.
Yeah, like I feel like if I was reading it in a book, I would have took more from it. But I was so distracted by the language, I was just like, we'll try this again later. Because everybody said it was so awesome. It makes me feel so good. I'm like, well, what am
And it really, I mean, it really could just be the language that is a turnoff too. Yeah, and maybe if you read it in the book and you could kind of skip over parts you don't like,
right.
then you could glean from it like more valuable things. And you know what? If you don't want to deal with the language, just don't deal with the language. There are plenty of other amazing personal development books out there. You don't have to read or listen to that just because other people think it's good.
Right.
So,
Right.
So yeah, that's a good rule of thumb, I think, too, is because I often will be like, oh my gosh, everybody's listening to this one. They say it's amazing. I need to jump to that one, and I have to stop myself and be like, you know what? No, what I'm listening to just right now is great. I need to stick with like where I am, and not jump.
I was also gonna say sometimes it doesn't have to be necessarily a book. If I know I've got a really busy day, I can grab a podcast. I like listening to Shalene Johnson, Darren Hardy. Is that his name? Darren Hardy? Darren Daly. What I always want to call him, but that's what the name of his thing is.
It's short. I love Darren Daly. Yes.
So, I mean, there are all kinds of options. Mm-hmm. So, Michelle, once you get going, you can, like, save stuff to your phone. Because I've subscribed to Shalene, so it automatically pops up. So you don't have to wait for it to download. Mm-hmm. And then the Darren Daily things are on YouTube, I think. Yeah. I haven't subscribed to them. I've just seen Kelly post several.
They're awesome if you subscribe. I think you just go to darrendaily.com and you put in your email address or your phone number. So I put in my phone number, and then I just get a text message every morning.
Okay.
A little message and a link, and I click on the link, and this little, like, literally, like, 2-minute video pops up, like, so short, but always, like, really profound and something that you can implement, like, that day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love those because if you don't have a lot of time, that's huge. So, yeah, Michelle, you can download the free podcast app for your smartphone, and then you can subscribe to, if you don't already do this, you can subscribe to the podcast that way. Another one I like is Joel Osteen. His are Christian devotionals, but there's some like really great messages in those, and they always just kind of make me feel so much more empowered. So, so many great things that are just short and sweet and don't take up too much time.
That's great. I'll have to look those up.
Yes.
I'd like that. Yeah.
Okay, well, it says we have like 3 minutes left on our meeting before it's going to kick us out. So why don't we close? Do you guys have any thoughts, questions, any shout outs you want to give to team members, anything like that? Anything you're going to specifically be focusing on for the month of October? Because that is 2 days away. Any thoughts?
Not yet.
Okay, I'm going to encourage you, if you haven't already, there is a link in the team page to a team call that Brigitte Linford did, and it's called The Resolution Effect. And it's a really good one to listen to right now because she talks about the work that you do over the next 3 months, so October, November, December, and how that will affect your new year. And when you kind of see the numbers that she shows you there, it's huge. So since we are going into October, if you haven't already watched that or listened to it, it's just a YouTube, an audio on YouTube. Go ahead and grab that because it will really help you push the last 3 months of the year so that you see a exponential difference in yourself and in your business and in how you are serving your challengers on into the new year. So, Megan, do you have anything to add? I didn't know if you were about to say something.
No, I was just going to comment that I'm one of those people that is not going to give up on the last day of the month. I had all intentions. I was like, this is over. It's absolutely over. Because I have messaged so many people today, and I'm getting crickets. Like, people aren't even saying anything this time. I would rather take the nose.
I know, that's
than
hard.
to get nothing. And so right now I'm just like a sitting duck, and I was like, well, this is over.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try tomorrow.
Follow up with everyone again. Go back through your list and make sure you haven't missed a single person and nobody's fallen through the cracks. And if you still get crickets, I guarantee you, you're going to go into the first week of the month or the second week of the month, and you're going to find you've hit Success Club right at the beginning, because you're totally going to be just, I mean, you're planting seeds, no matter what you're planting seeds. And maybe you're not going to reap those rewards today or tomorrow, but you will if you keep going. So, and plus you'll feel good about it. You'll be like, okay, I did everything I could up until the very last minute. So I'm going to do that tomorrow too. I'm just going to keep working, because then you'll know that you've done everything you can and that you can do a fingernail more. So thank you for joining me. Okay, ladies, I'll let you go. And yeah, Michelle, just kind of look for that personal development stuff in the team page. So Joelle is your upline, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah.
Review. She's awesome. And follow her.
Thank you.
She rocks. Okay, ladies, have a good night, and we will see you next week, okay?
Great. Thank you. Have a good week.